Guys, what's up? PipSnipers here, back for another update. Let's take a look at XRP over here today. I'm very bullish on XRP. I think that this over here was our liquidation event. This was our absolute low, and right now we're just forming about 4 inside bars so far. And usually when the market chops around like this and it just dangles here at the lows, but it doesn't make a new low, it just dangles here. It just chills within this region and then forms a bunch of inside bars. It gives people too much time to think. And usually when people have too much time to think, that's usually when they make the most grave mistakes with their portfolio, and then they end up selling the low before it eventually chops and grinds its way to the upside. Or you can even consider this like a melt up scenario, right? And very, very reminiscent of the COVID crash we had back in March 2020. And usually, what you have in the market, whenever you have an aggressive move down, this over here would be your selling climax. You then have now you tend to have a huge wick because it gets bought up, right? So let's say the candle close or the candle open is here, and this is the start of your wick. So what you tend to see is the price comes down to fill that wick in, either 50 to 78.6% of the way down. And in doing so, that's when people panic and they think, oh my God, it's going to make a new low. We're entering into a bear market. I'm just going to sell it all here. And then it slowly chops its way up. And then all of a sudden it breaks out from the highs of the range. Okay, so this is what we currently see here with XRP. I know it was originally reported that there was a little bit over $2 billion in longs that were liquidated. But when we take a look at the on-chain data, and I believe the CEO of Bybit said it was actually over $10 billion. So when you have liquidations to that magnitude, that tends to mark the bottom, right? We had something very similar happen in March 2020, and that marked the bottom when everyone thought we were going lower, when everyone thought we were going into a bear market. But this, in my opinion, is the low. And you see how we're forming a bunch of inside bars here? What I mean by the inside bars is I mean that these candles after this huge daily candle, they're inside the high and the low of this huge candle. So we have one, two, three inside bars so far on the daily, and then on the 3-day time frame, we have one inside bar. On the weekly time frame, we have this nice wick over here. So when you see that wick to the downside, when you see a huge wick like that, that's a good sign, right? It means that there is buy pressure sustaining the price action in order to form this wick like that. So whenever you see a wick to the downside, that means there's lots of buy pressure, uh, a lot of shorts closing, right? Whenever you see a wick to the upside, that's bearish because that's a lot of sell pressure. You see how we had a huge wick to the upside, we came down. Whenever you have a huge wick to the upside, it probably means that we're going to go up from there. You tend to see these long wicks to the downside when you're about to move up. You tend to see them on the upside when you're about to move down. Okay? So what I see over here is a ABC or a WXY correction, right? So this over here would be considered your W. Right? So this is your 3 down in your W, 3 up in your X, and then another 3 down in your Y, sweeping the range lows right over here. And you've also swept the range highs. And you can even consider this like a flat pattern or an ABC correction with the B wave perfectly tapping the 1.236, 1.382 extension. You see how we perfectly tag that 1.236, 1.382 region? And then we dropped from there and took out the range lows. that's a good way of identifying a B wave top, is if the move hits the 1.236, 1.382. So let's say you have three waves, and then you have your fourth wave, or what you think is the low of your fourth wave. What you can do is take a fib from this high down to this low, and when the next wave comes to fruition, if it's unable to get above the 1.382, then you could say, oh, okay, this is probably a B wave, and we're going to come back down into the range low. We're going to come back into the range, right? And in this case, we weren't able to get above that 1.236, 1.382. We swept the range low. This over here would be considered your selling climax. And this is pure Wyckoff right now. So from a Wyckoff point of view, this would be your selling climax. This is your automatic rally, your secondary test, your fail breakout, your secondary test in phase B. We're likely going to come up here to take out these highs. This would be your fail break number 2. Have another retraction back down to mid-range for your last point of support. Or, yeah, this over here would be your last point of support. Slightly sweeping this low, and then we see the grind up from there. So in a more simplified format, or in layman's terms, what I would be expecting from here is just chop. And then we have that nice melt up to then go ahead and make our way to a new all-time high. Now, we could see over here that this over here was just a huge fourth wave, right? This is your A wave, your B, your C, your D, and then your E wave. And then you have a 3-wave move in each of the waves. ABC down in your A, ABC up in your B with a leading diagonal. I remember this. This was when we had that COVID crash. You see, this was the COVID crash right here in March 2020. You see, we had 5 waves up here in a leading diagonal formation for your A wave. And then look at this crash. I remember grown men cried over here. We went down 78%. I know a lot of people who thought it was over, right? This wasn't the COVID crash. This was the SEC crash. Yeah, so this was the COVID crash right here. And even on the COVID crash, we went down by over 66%. So COVID crash 66%, and then SEC crash 78%. And both times when the market was in extreme fear, when everyone thought that we were going to go lower, what did we do instead? We had our melt up. You see? So we have something very similar on our hands. So yeah, this is what I think for XRP. ABC down in your A, ABC up in your B, ABC down in your C, ABC up in your D, ABC down in your E, and then our impulsive wave up, and then our impulsive move to the upside starts from here on in July. This would be your first wave, right? Back in 2014. This is your second wave, your third wave, your fourth, and now we're working on our macro fifth. Okay, so nothing to worry about with XRP. It looks like we just finished the correction. And now all we're going to see from here is just a nice grind to the upside, which is going to shake out a lot of people. I know a lot of people who think we're going to continue to go lower, and they've sold their bags. So when most of the market is bearish, especially when you had a $10 billion liquidation event, the biggest in history in the crypto markets, that's not usually the time to be bearish. Just like it wasn't the time to be bearish back in December. right, of 2020, right over here. When it was popular to be bearish, when we had this huge 78% crash, the market did the exact opposite. Same thing for C19 right here. So it looks like we should be moving up soon. When we want to take a look at the targets, we can take a fib from this high down to this low, and I'll show you all of the intermediary targets here. Okay, so these are all of your intermediary targets. We should see some big resistance come in at $3.05 and $2.91. So this region right here, we should see some resistance come in. But as soon as you get above the 786 and then get above the 4-hour moving averages, the 921.50, then it wouldn't surprise me that we go ahead and have that melt up phase to make a new all-time high. So everything looks good for XRP. This was just a very quick update. I just wanted to show you that the worst is behind us, and I only see good news from here on out, especially when we take a look at the DXY. So if you haven't seen my DXY video, please go ahead and take a look at that. I do think that the DXY has topped out here at 110.22 at the 70.2% fib, and now we're on our way to head towards $94. Okay, and this is likely when crypto will top out. So I think crypto bottomed out in this region, and we're in for some really good times ahead. We may see a local top around March, April, but ultimately I think around September, October we should see that crypto top. But yeah, this was just a quick video on XRP. Nothing to worry about if you hold XRP. It's still looking very structurally sound. If you want the full wave count and exit targets along with daily updates, then click the link in the description below to join the Discord, where you can get access to over 350 charts, and you can also ask me any questions you want. Peace out and take it easy. See you in the next one.